Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wild. Today we are talking about they be walking behind the register. Wendy's worker roasts Doordash drivers who storm in and barely show their phones to prove it's an order. So the war between gig workers and fast food workers has been ever evolving for as long as I can remember, really. Between ignoring us when we get there, gaslighting us, and just overall discrimination against us. Now they're roasting us publicly for not showing them the full order. And you know what? In a sense, I do agree with the fact that a lot of gig workers end up having a terrible tendency to shove their phone in the face, like as if you're supposed to be able to read from this distance, or they do the opposite where they just kind of flash it and then move on. But those who flash it and then move on are trying to get away with something, in my opinion. So I kind of understand where this Wendy's worker is coming from. What I usually like to do is I like to guide their gaze to my phone, and then they could do what they gotta do on their end. But with that said, I want to go over what this person's saying, what the arguments are for all sides of this, and everything in between, because quite honestly, while I don't always like to talk about how Doordashers do things wrong, I do think that it is important to note it if we did do something wrong. So with that said, let's get started. A Wendy's worker mimics how DoorDash drivers quickly flash their phones before picking up an order in a now viral TikTok. Yeah, you gotta give them a chance to read the thing, you know? Come on. Like, how are they supposed to know it's for Ashley S for DoorDash if you're not showing that it's Ashley S for DoorDash? In the video posted by TikToker Will, Whyareyouherebozo, on Sunday, he shows a clip of him storming up to the register and flashing his phone before walking to the order pickup area towards the front of the store. The text overlay reads, "How DoorDashers show us their phone when they have an order." Well, first off, I'm going to leave his TikTok and his profile in the description so you can develop your own opinions on the subject. And like I said, a lot of times there are people that have a problem with this. A lot of restaurants have stated that they don't like it when a phone is shoved in their face. In fact, I made a video about all the things that merchants hate that gig workers do and how to correct them. So I'll leave that in the description. Feel free to check it out. But yeah, it is a growing problem in the gig community. Give them a chance, man. The video amassed over 858,000 views as of Thursday. In the comments, other food service workers complain about how DoorDash drivers or Dashers act when collecting orders for customers. The things you do for content, huh? They be walking behind the register, one user said. Okay, with all due respect, the only time when that's an issue is when we're being blatantly ignored. There are times where we as Dashers have literally been avoided to be helped. Like, seriously, the amount of times I've been to a McDonald's or any fast food place, they acknowledge the fact that I exist, and then they proceed to ignore me is astounding. So the fact that some people walk behind the register just to get it, I understand that to a degree. Start doing your job the way you're supposed to, and then we can actually help you. If you're not going to do your end, don't be surprised when we try to just move forward. I be serving a customer and they put the phone right in my face, another room. Okay, so there is a point to be made about that. If they're in the middle of helping a customer already, don't stop them from helping that customer. Let them finish what they're doing. If they have a minute to actually handle you, let them handle. There's a DoorDasher banned because we had a line out the door and couldn't get the order immediately, so he started screaming at me. A third added. I mean, that's a legitimate reason to ban somebody, honestly speaking. Sometimes when Dashers get banned, it's a stupid reason, but this time I kind of get it. You don't start screaming at them. Come on. Several Dashers in the comments put other drivers on blast for being rude, explaining how they treat food service employees when picking up an order. Okay, so to be clear, other Dashers have problems with this too, because we get lumped into the same category. But like this, if one Dasher does something, that affects all of us. It's not right, it shouldn't be that way, but The fact is, we're going to be put into that category. I just show my phone because folks think I'm trying to steal an order, so it's just muscle memory. I greet and ask how y'all doing before I show my phone. Wendysher route. That's a good way to go about it. Greet them, have them acknowledge the fact that you're there, guide their gaze to the phone. That's a great way to go about it. I say, hey, I have a Doordash for first name, and show my screen and let them read it. And then they say, okay, or walk away to go get the food, another set. And you see, that's the ideal situation. 100% ideal, that's what we want. And quite honestly, that should be most of the time. Let's be real, that's not always the case. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. Honestly, I 100% agree with the fact that there are Dashers that are completely rude. At the same time, a lot of us get put into that category, and that is not the majority of us. Number one. Number two, this doesn't justify poor behavior in the workplace. There are a lot of fast food places that blatantly treat Dashers like garbage. Regardless of whether you think this guy was right or wrong with how he is displaying how we are, that doesn't justify the poor behavior of the fast food workers that blatantly ignore us. I feel a lot of people use the idea of, I don't get paid enough to do this, or some sort of external reason to not even do the bare minimum as far as helping us actually get the job done. You know, it's a great way to get rid of a Dasher. Just give him his order and let him leave. Now, at the same time, I'm not saying that they don't have a reason to be mad. This isn't to justify our poor behavior either. Both sides have good reasons to be upset about the situation. And quite honestly, it makes sense that DoorDash drivers would end up getting upset about waiting a long time for an order so they go behind the counter. I'm not saying they should do that, but I understand where that frustration comes from. I'm not saying fast food workers don't have a reason to be miffed about DoorDash drivers and how they shove phones in their faces. That's something that Dashers should stop doing. The problem is merchants and customers don't take ownership of their actions. Just like I made a video about things that gig workers do that merchants hate, I made a video about things that merchants do that gig workers hate. And that was one of those things, is the fact that they ignore us. I'll leave that video in the description. Feel free to check it out. It was actually... It was very relieving for me, I'll be honest with you. But either way, try to be as respectful to any fast food worker, any worker really. Be the bigger person on this subject, because you know they're not going to. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!